Hi, I'm Raphael from TilliT. What you're about to see is a conversation that I had with Wayne from Ozpak about the process to digitize a co-pack wine bottling facility. Let's see what he has to say.
Yeah, cool. So really, again, appreciate so much being here and chatting to me about your experience, about your story. So if you could just tell us a little bit about like Ozpak and your story with Ozpak, your role and your history there.
Yeah, Ozpak's a wine packaging business. Started in I think it was about the year 2000, 2001. We're predominantly a wine packager, but we do a small percentage of products outside of that. We're about 1.8 million cases a year, thereabouts, 9 litre equivalents. And yeah, well, that's it. That's Ozpak in a nutshell.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as for me, I've been with Ozpak for about 14 and a half years now.
Mm-hmm.
Started there straight out of high school. I started in as a lab technician,
Okay.
and from there progressed to lab manager. And while fulfilling that role, started uni. So I did my bachelor in science, major in chemistry and mathematics. And then about, I think, 4 or 5 years ago, I was looking for another challenge and was moved
Mm-hmm.
across to the seller manager and wine logistics role.
Okay.
A bit more experience there. Yeah, and picking up any other projects along the way that are thrown at me,
Nice. Yeah.
such as
Yeah.
this.
Oh, that's awesome. And do you consider yourself, a technical person, experienced implementing system? Did you had to implement any other system? Did you participate in any system implementation?
I suppose that's I suppose a yes and no question. No, in the sense of anything like TilliT. No, no systems like that. As lab manager, I did implement systems in regards to new testing regimes and stuff, and going through the accreditation process to get
Yeah.
them all up and running. But yeah, other than that, no, not on this kind of scale.
Yeah. Was it hands-on? Was it very hands-on, or were you more like a user?
Very hands-on, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And do you think that from the business perspective, when you guys started the journey and looking into TilliT, looking into a digital tool, what was the typical challenge of the day-to-day that you thought that these tools could help out?
Well, I suppose it mainly around data capture is probably one of
Mhm.
the biggest ones. And you don't really realize how much until you start capturing data, how much you
Mhm.
don't capture,
Mhm.
um, and how useful that data can be once you
Mhm.
start processing it.
Yeah, yeah.
Um,
So
and
a lot of
our biggest goal is around, well, to start with was removing paper.
removing paper.
We use a lot of paper
Mhm.
around the factory, and this was a good way to cut that right back, and at the same time get something meaningful out of it in the form of data.
In the form of
Um,
data, so that you can build reports and get insights from the data that
yes.
you've collected. And how was the process of setting the system up? What was you did in phases, right? So what was the phases and how did it
Yeah,
go?
so our rollout plan, obviously we were inexperienced in this kind of thing, so we wanted to make it as easy to start with as possible. So we implemented it via assets. So we started with our most simple one, which is the palletizer, and then moving through the rollout phase was then to the labeler, the packaging end, with us finishing on the filler, hopefully at the end of this year, start of next year.
Gotcha. So you don't really need to do the whole lot. You can just do a
You can
section.
do pieces at a time, and you don't even need to stop there. So even once we're finished rolling out at the filler end, which basically covers our packaging requirements,
Mhm.
the next stage will be to look at how TilliT can be implemented in the cellar as well.
In the cellar as
Um,
well. Yeah.
and whatever other parts of the business we can throw it into. So
Yeah.
like there's potential for it to gather lab analysis, generate reports on us on that. Other things for us to explore as the time goes by.
And I guess now that you understand how the tool works, you can actually visualize how it would work on the different areas.
And that's probably the other good thing about the way we went about implementing it, starting with our simple area. It gave me a really good opportunity to kind of learn how TilliT worked. And the good thing about TilliT being as well, versatile and adaptable as it is, because there's not much you can't really do, depending on how you look at it and how you approach a problem. Yeah, it gave me a good chance to learn that. So when we got to the more complicated things, it was much easier to kind of find solutions for it.
Yeah. And how was the end user operator uptake? I mean, there's a lot of fear of change management and, you know, the struggle with the operations.
So we thought we were going to have a little bit of a problem there, but it actually turned out to be the other way around. Our end user adapted to it really well. We had a lot of positive feedback from them. A lot of them were actually preferring it to their paperwork. As just said, it was time saving for them, really.
Right.
Because it was all there. They, you know, if they were either scanning something that then got all the info, or they were writing their checks down, it was reminding them when their checks pop up. It reminds the supervisors if operators forget to do a check. The end user's been real positive feedback from them.
And you feel like these reminders and, you know, the operator not needing to remember every step of the way, does it help managing the actual operations?
Yeah. I suppose that's a kind of tricky one, because it depends how it's set up, how you've set it up at the time. For us it does, because they don't have to. They can more focus on what they're doing. They check TilliT every few minutes, see what's popped up. Nothing's popped up, move on to the next thing.
Gotcha. And what was the biggest challenge you found during the implementation process? I mean, you had to learn the tool. 100%.
That was probably the most tricky thing. Was finding solutions to issues. Again, going back to how I suppose adaptable TilliT is. We've kind of molded it to fit us. So it wasn't like we were told we have to do it this way. There's no other way to do it. We looked at it. We took how our business worked and said, yep, I can actually get it to work in a way that doesn't mean I've got to change how our business works, which was great.
Yeah. And but you had help, or you didn't have like you know, consultants helping you, or it was
no. So apart from the couple of questions that I kept popping to you every few weeks, we worked our way through it. Yeah.
Which in my perspective was barely noticeable. I feel like you guys were really gold there. And you feel like the business have seen already benefits from it? Have you seen things like avoiding mistakes or reducing waste and that kind of thing?
So very, very interesting there, I suppose. In the first, I think it was within the first 2 days of rolling it out at the first asset depot, the operators came to us a little bit confused. They were scanning something and it kept telling them it was wrong, and they're like, it's not working. Upon further investigation, we found out they'd brought the wrong pallet of glass to the line. So it was a good learning opportunity there. But
so if it was paper, obviously the paper would, you know, not say anything.
No, and that's the I suppose the good thing about it. Like it actually said to them, no, this is wrong. And then it was just getting our understanding around when the system tells you that, stop everything, ask someone.
Yeah. And then if you had, you know, ran it through with the wrong bottle, what would have happened?
Oh, well, with any luck, hopefully the checks at the next stage would have picked it up. But in the instance that it hadn't got all the way through, there's potential big costs associated with that.
Yeah. No, that's good to hear that, you know, like there was definitely benefit there. Without external help, which is very expensive, you guys were able to basically digitize a whole very complicated factory, because, you know, wine co-pack is one of the worst. You know, the amount of SKUs and variations and variabilities is probably
And we
makes
keep getting told that, especially when we put in our new palletizer robot at the back end.
yeah.
I think the guys were expecting us to have like 15 or 16 different formats, not realizing that we
Oh,
run.
it's one per customer. Yeah.
We have there are hundreds of formats, hundreds and hundreds of different formats that we run. And yeah, having something, and that's why it's important to have something that actually checks our work along the line. Because we do have so many formats, it's not like we're running the same thing over and over again. Something looks different, it's wrong. We've got to constantly be checking what we're running is right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of places to go wrong, right? There's a lot of things to go wrong in the
Yes.
operations. That's the whole point. Yeah. No, that's really interesting. And the other thing that it became very clear is that you guys were really following a journey. It's not so much of a one-off project. It's really going in and just conquering the factory, area by area. And as soon as you drop one area, you start getting the benefit from that area that you've dropped, right? So the mistakes in that area starts to decrease. That's what I read.
Yes. Yeah, no, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
I'd never suggest to anyone that they attempt to implement factory wide at once. I'd recommend you run into problems left, right, and center. You're better off going one area at a time, ironing out bugs as you go. Then obviously using those learnings as you move on to the next areas.
And then you find that after you roll out an area, do you look back at the data and start to understand that there's room to optimize the process and change the rules?
Yeah, so we've just started looking at some of the data for the areas we have rolled out. I'm hoping once we've done the filler that we're actually going to start tracking downtime reasons, so that we can actually start acting on that. Because it was very interesting, actually, in the latest feature you showed me in the activity report, that showed the downtime stoppages, so you could actually see. I would actually see during the run how often it was stopping and not moving.
Yes.
It was very interesting, and it raised a lot of questions as to why is there like chunks of time where we weren't moving for 10 or 15 minutes at a time. So once we can actually narrow down on what those reasons are through downtime reporting, we might find some stuff that we can fix and improve on.
Yeah, I think the interesting thing you'll find is that you might not find the challenge that a lot of the companies that I speak to and I know of find challenges when they're trying to do downtime report. I don't think you will, because a lot of the companies that I see, they start with a downtime report and OE, but they don't have the digital process, the quality process. What's interesting about that is you can ship out goods and not have somebody qualify the downtime. So the discipline needs to be kind of enforced, but you can't ship goods if you didn't do your checks and your scans and all that.
And that's the way we've approached.
Exactly. So you started with the harder bit, but the benefit is that the moment you trigger you add the downtime reason activity, that will pop up on the same screen as every other activity. So for the operator, it's kind of not a problem at all to just qualify it, So I feel like you will keep having, the beautiful, process adherence that you guys have, which is best in class. Like your operation works exactly how it's designed. And you can see that in TilliT, and your downtime reason will all be qualified, and you will have all these insights thereafter. I think you're still gonna get a lot of extra benefit for sure.
Oh, definitely, and it's a wait and see game at this time. Once we've rolled everything out, hopefully, we'll start getting that data in there and being able to put it to use. Yeah.
I think once you get there, we'll probably be ready with our boards feature that allows us to manage continuous improvement projects. So that'll be another interesting thing to watch out. If you have a downtime and that leads into an improvement project that you want to track, maybe a maintenance.
Oh yeah.
So we will be able to have a special place just for you to track the progress of that project. inside TilliT for our continuous improvement boards feature that's coming. So I guess I guess you live this notion that the tool keeps improving, right? It keeps giving you new features. How does that make you feel in terms of
100%. From where TilliT was when we first started implementing it, what, 9 months ago, the improvements have been flowing thick and fast. I think along the journey, I've asked you for several features. So far at this stage, I think every single one of them has been implemented. And yeah, the rate it's been changing and improving has been really good.
And do you find any system issues, or some people get concerned with the availability of the system, the system being down? That's the typical problem with any kind of a system, is that sometimes they don't work, right? They go down for some reason, maybe a server. How your experience with TilliT on that reliability?
It's been pretty good. I think the only issue we've really had is when Optus had that nationwide outage, which I think affected a fair few people. That threw it out for us for a little bit.
And what was the process there? What do you guys do when you had that problem?
We just switched straight back to paperwork. So it was very. I firmly believe that it's very important that even though we are digitizing everything, to have paper as a backup. In the instance that anything does go wrong or goes down, we can revert back so that we don't actually lose any traceability or checks along the way.
Yeah. But that incident, you still feel like it's worth having the digital, even though you might have an incident that might lead you to, for a short period of time.
They're rare and far in between events. Like, they don't. You're not having your internet drop out, once a week.
Yeah. No, that's excellent. Cool. So yeah, we got a bit of more journey and a road ahead. So that's excellent. Hey mate, thanks so much for this. I think that this is it.
That's okay, mate. Like I said, happy to do it. You guys have actually been pretty amazing through the whole process. It's been really, really good.
Thanks so much for watching. 2 links for you if you want to know more about Ozpak and more about TilliT.